So here's the thing. A lot of research has told us that 80% of strategies fail. And the strategies fail, it turns out, not because they're not clever, but because they're not executed. The broken part of most strategies isn't the strategy itself, but how we translate that strategy into operational terms so the things we do are aligned to strategy. This is a story that's comprised of best practices that we've gleaned over the last 30 years about how to successfully translate strategy into action. In fact, our work has been so successful, it's been profiled in every single book that Drs. Kaplan and Norton has written on the balanced scorecard, and in fact, most other books on the scorecard and other performance measurement structures refer to our client work as best case examples. So, what's it look like? Well, there are really three phases to this work, 5 simple activities you need to do. First, we need to be able to understand what are the strategic linkages, what are the objectives we have in the organization, and how do they contribute to success. Based on that, we can easily put together some performance indicators, a scorecard that shows us how we're performing. But that's not enough. What we also need to do is translate those objectives into the activities we do, the processes and projects, and make sure that they line up and contribute overall to success. And from that, we can begin building dashboards and more diagnostic tools to underpin success. We then need to begin building our daily and monthly processes around that information. And finally, we need to make sure that we turn it on and actually use it. Let's take a quick run through of what does this look like. Overall, the story here, I'm going to use an example on Dell, for example, which is well publicized. I'm not going to share with you any of our top secret client information, but generally what's out there and how does it look. So for Dell, even if we just take the most recent financial and audit reports that show up on the website, we should be able to describe the strategy in what we call a strategy map. A strategy map describes success in 4 simple perspectives. What are our financial goals? To achieve that, what do our customers expect? To make our customers happy, therefore what internal processes we need, and to build and maintain those processes, what are the enablers, the culture, competencies, enabling structures. So in Dell's case, if we go back to the website, they're looking for a number of objectives. So for example, they want to make sure that we accelerate the cash-to-cash cycle from when we have to pay for materials to when we receive cash from our customers. We also want to make sure that we focus on profitability, provide a great shopping experience, make sure our products are always available. Everything is customizable as far as the customer is concerned, and to do that we need to understand the customer and match our needs and talents. Now, what's important is this is what the financial world expects. This is what our customers expect. Our customers expect us to provide a great shopping experience and to make sure what we offer is always available. Internally, this is what we need to do, and so forth. So these 4 perspectives allow us to identify the objectives. Now, what we also have to do is show the cause and effect relationship. So overall, our goal, of course, is to achieve profitability. To do that, we need to do 2 things. One is we need to accelerate this cash-to-cash cycle, and if we do that, that will end up supporting our focus on profitability. And we need to make sure our products are always available. And if we do that, that will help profitability. But in fact, always being available also is going to, of course, underpin accelerating our cash-to-cash cycle. Providing a great shopping experience supports, of course, always being available. Down here, making sure everything's customizable supports both making sure everything's immediately available and making sure it's a great shopping experience. Understanding our customers underpins that, and matching our needs. So this is a strategy map, and it kind of outlines overall what our game is against those strategic objectives. We then need to identify how important these are, which we can do simply by weighting those objectives. If this is 100% of our strategy, what are we going to focus on this year compared to next year? So as you can see in this example, currently we're going to focus on making everything customizable so that it's available and that we provide a great shopping experience. And our belief is if we achieve this, 65% of our mandate, the rest will fall in place. Next year, we might weight other objectives based on the themes and economic realities. Now, based on this strategy map, the next step is to understand how we might cascade it down the organization. That corporate level strategy map might have a cascade into different departments reflecting different objectives that they need to do. You see, they need to respond to the strategic objectives of the overall organization. In this case, if everything is customizable, maybe order management needs to figure out how to deliver a configurable ordering solution. Operations, they need to make sure that they can enable modular designs. Marketing, maybe what they need to do is make sure we attract the right customers. And finally, service needs to make sure that they're enabling self-help. For now, we're just going to focus on this top of the house corporate scorecard. Understand, these cascades will come out later. So at that top of the house, what we should be able to do is find performance indicators next to each of these objectives which are currently available. And then we could effectively make these turn red, yellow, and green based on how well we're performing against those targets. And in fact, what we want to do is make this available to everyone in the organization. So now, if we're having a leadership team meeting, we can have a conversation about what things we should be focusing our attention on. Now, in this case, as opposed to chasing after the red, we might actually want to go after the yellow. Here's the thing, a yellow, a performance slightly behind target at 30% might be more important to us than a red at 15. Furthermore, based on this arrow, it's possible that it's this objective that's contributing to this poorer performance over here. So what we're trying to do is help leadership understand how to manage strategically. Now, the second step is how do we translate this to action? We should be able to take that strategy map and list those objectives down the left of a spreadsheet and across the top your core processes. And eventually rate and rank how well each process supports each strategic objective. What we see here is how well, for example, demand generation is supporting the strategy. It allows us to not only see how well does each process work, but we can also see which strategic objectives are at risk because all the processes are not necessarily supporting the performance levels required by the strategy. If we were to add this up, we can begin to visualize our overall performance. In this case, the total height of the bar represents the level of process support each objective requires. The blue part represents our current performance level, and the gold is a gap between our current performance level and what's required to be successful. Obviously, in this case, if we had $1 to spend on process improvement, if you had the choice between spending it, for example, here on C1, a great shopping experience, or here, C2, immediately available, we'd obviously invest it here because the performance gap is much bigger. So in this way, we can begin to take a look at our processes in the same light and begin to see how well each process supports each strategic objective. So if we were to stack up the process impact by strategic objective and combine that with the process gaps that we saw before, we'll begin to see a footprint of where we're over-investing in some areas and under-investing in others. Ultimately, this allows us to begin understanding what is our return on investment and begin building dashboards or drill downs by strategic objective, understanding how the different processes and projects support overall success. So again, if we were to drill into, say, everything is customizable, we should be able to understand what are the different process drivers that are contributing to success. And within each one of those, begin to understand overall how we're performing, and maybe even drill into some of the data. So the idea is we're combining what some people would call dashboards and scorecards into an integrated management system that allows us to understand how we're performing. So to repeat, overall what we need to do is understand the strategic objectives, put in performance indicators behind them to build a scorecard, understand the linkage to our processes and projects so that we can begin to build drill down dashboards, and then finally we need to make this part of our management practices and turn it on. To learn more, go to pm2consulting.com, and within that, our insights page provides you much more detail on these concepts and ideas.